Welcome back, everyone. We're diving into something truly special today. A recipe that kind of makes you wonder, can a cookie actually bring two totally different food worlds together?
You're talking about cannoli chocolate chip
Look what?
cookies,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's Italian meets American, all in one delicious cookie. We're using a fictional food podcast script, Fork and Fry, to guide us.
Sounds like fun. It's a pretty cool concept. Two totally distinct culinary traditions, each with its own history and fans, coming together in one little cookie. Makes you think, can those flavors really work side by side, or will one, like, totally overpower the other?
Exactly. So maybe we should start by, looking at the history of each part separately.
Absolutely. So for the Italian side, we have the cannoli. It's a Sicilian pastry with a history going back centuries.
Wow, centuries.
Yeah, and it's traditionally linked to Carnival, like the big celebration before Lent.
Oh, right. Carnival it's all about like indulging, and cannoli definitely fit that.
No.
Crispy shells, creamy filling, the whole deal.
Exactly. And you can't forget about the ricotta cheese filling. It's like the heart of a cannoli. That slightly sweet, tangy flavor is so unique. It just wouldn't be authentic without it.
Gotcha. So that's the Italian side. What about the American influence?
Well, on the American side, we've got the chocolate chip cookie. Classic. It popped up in the 1930s, invented by Ruth Wakefield, who owned this place called the Toll House Inn.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that story. She was making chocolate cookies, ran out of baker's chocolate, and just threw in pieces of a Nestle bar instead.
Right, pretty.
Ingenious.
Totally. But let's get back to this cannoli chocolate chip cookie. What are the ingredients that actually make this fusion thing work?
Yeah, what makes it tick?
Well, obviously ricotta cheese is a big deal. It wouldn't be a cannoli-inspired cookie without it. But what's interesting is that the recipe calls for mini chocolate chips.
Yeah, instead of the regular size. I bet that helps spread the chocolate out more evenly in every bite.
Exactly. And then they throw in some roasted pistachios, too. They add a nice crunch, That contrast with the soft cookie and the creamy filling is what makes it special.
And I see Marsala wine in the dough. What does that do for the flavor?
Ah, sweet Marsala. It brings this, like, depth and complexity to the cookie that you wouldn't get otherwise. Think of it as, like, this subtle background note in a melody. Adds that extra something special.
I like that, a subtle background note. Okay, so we've covered the history, the key ingredients. Now I want to get baking. What are some of the baking steps that make this cookie different from, say, your typical chocolate chip cookie?
Oh, there are a few things you got to do, right? First off, chilling the dough is, like, super important.
Right, right.
That stops the cookies from spreading out too much when you bake them.
Yeah, I've heard chilling the dough makes the flavor stronger too, but how does that actually work?
It gives all those ingredients time to really, blend together. Kind of like a good stew needs to simmer. The butter hardens up and it, like, traps all the good flavors in.
Ah, that makes sense. So you end up with this cookie that's not just chewy, it's also bursting with flavor.
Exactly.
All right, so after the dough is done chilling, what's next?
This is the really fun part. Shaping and frying.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, you roll the dough out super thin, almost like you're making pasta. Then you cut out these circles, like tiny cannoli shells. Then it's time for a little swim in some hot oil.
Hold on, so we're not just baking these, we're frying them too.
Yep. That's how you get that crispy texture that works so well with the soft and chewy cookie.
Ah, I see. Every bite has like a mix of textures. I'm starting to get how this cookie brings those two worlds together. Okay, we've got our fried shells. Now, what about the filling? Is it the same ricotta mixture you'd find in a regular cannoli?
It is the classic recipe. Smooth ricotta cheese, some confectional sugar to sweeten it up, and a little bit of lemon zest to brighten it up.
That sounds so good. And I'm guessing we just add the chocolate chips and pistachios after that, right?
Exactly. This is where you can get creative,
Yeah.
Sprinkle a ton on there, keep it simple, maybe even add a little powdered sugar on top for a fancy touch. It's like your own little work of art.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, stepping away from the recipe for a sec, it's interesting that cannoli have like a deeper cultural meaning, not just a dessert.
Mm-hmm.
I read somewhere they symbolize fertility in Sicilian culture.
Yeah, it's true.
So this fusion cookie has like a whole other layer of meaning. It's a cool reminder that food isn't just ingredients, it's tied to culture and history and all sorts of stuff.
Definitely.
So I got to ask, what are some good drinks to pair with these cannoli chocolate chip cookies?
Well, anything that goes well with cannoli will work here.
Okay.
Like coffee, espresso, even a simple glass of milk. The richness of the cookie goes great with the bitterness of the coffee or the creaminess of the milk.
Makes sense. Any pairings that are a little more, adventurous?
Ooh, if you're feeling adventurous, a dessert wine could be really interesting.
Oh, like what?
A sweet Marsala would be amazing. It kind of echoes those flavors in the dough.
Yeah.
Or a Vinsanto. It has notes of dried fruit and honey, so that could be a really nice match too.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Matching the wine with the cookie? It's like, a whole flavor experience.
Yeah.
This whole deep dive has got me thinking about other fusion dessert ideas.
Oh yeah, the possibilities are endless. Like imagine a baklava cheesecake, flaky phyllo dough with creamy cheesecake filling. Oh man. Or what about like a churro donut?
Stop. You're making me hungry. But I think you've hit on something important. It's not about just throwing stuff together.
Mhm.
You have to, find the right balance between different food traditions.
For sure. To make a really good fusion dessert, you have to really understand the flavors and textures you're working with.
Right.
You want something that's both familiar and new, something that respects those individual ingredients but creates something totally different.
Okay, so going back to our original question, can a cookie really bridge two different culinary worlds? What do you think?
Honestly, I think the cannoli chocolate chip cookie proves that it can. It takes those important ingredients and techniques from both Italian and American baking and brings them together. It's proof that you can get creative in the kitchen, and sometimes the most unexpected combinations are the best.
I love that. It's like a reminder that food can be this bridge between different cultures,
Hmm.
a way to try new flavors and traditions, and honestly, just something to enjoy together.
Absolutely. And to anyone listening, if you're feeling inspired to try your own fusion baking, just go for it. Let your curiosity lead you, and who knows, maybe you'll create the next big dessert craze.
Great advice. So this wraps up our deep dive into the world of cannoli chocolate chip cookies. Thanks for joining us on this delicious journey.
And remember, there's a whole world of food out there waiting to be discovered. So keep exploring, keep experimenting, and most importantly, keep enjoying all the deliciousness.
That's it for today. Happy baking, everyone.